Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome back. 'Tis the first mail day of 2024, and it's going to be an absolutely awesome one. We've got two things, and we're going to start off first with something. Actually, both of these things arrived here before I left New York to go back to Pittsburgh for Christmas, and I do apologize for the delay in everything, but, with the holidays, pardon me, everything is just absolutely crazy pretty much constantly for about a week and a half. That said, we are going to get right into it. We're going to begin with an envelope I got, and this is coming from, as it falls over completely randomly, Goody G, sending some more awesome stuff. I've got a stack of cards that he sent last time that will be sent for TTM purposes. We are good there. We have us a note. Woo. See, I wish that I had any sort of artistical talent. And people have seen my handwriting, and the answer to that is I do not. Zach, I'm sure you're having a happy holiday season with family and friends. You know what? And that's the thing. It was a good time. A little chaotic, but you know what? All holidays can be a little chaotic. I've sent some more TTM Fuel. You can never have enough. You are not wrong there, good sir. And some other things I hope you'll enjoy. Your friend, Goody G. First off, thank you so much, Goody G, Brother Goody. Hopefully you as well had a very happy, safe Christmas time, Happy New Year, whatever the term anybody wants to use is, but the end of the year. And I am curious because as I opened this up, I saw something. Game of Thrones. Now this, I have to admit, is a show. Hold on, I gotta move stuff because everything is in my way. Okay, we are good. I can actually set my arm down. Game of Thrones. It's a show that, well, we don't even know if this is actually that or not, but we will see. But all men must die. Well, really, Dark Horse, neat. I never got into Game of Thrones. The pure reason behind that is I just am not a huge fan of that genre. The sword and sandal fantasy thing. See, and I know for a fact he at least used to be, Peter Dinklage, used to be a very good TTMer. I got him. And most of these characters I'm going to have no idea of, but I may recognize some. But, everybody knows Peter Dinklage. I got him to sign a picture for a friend of mine when he was on Broadway. And I wonder if he still is, because some of these, actually probably a lot of these might get sent out for TTM Fuel. And these are really nice looking cards. But no, I know we definitely have. And another thing, I don't remember the name. I know there's the family names I can't remember. But these are definitely going to end up being TTM Fuel, I think. No idea. And the problem is it's escaping me. It's like everybody, this is a definite that guy, but I can't remember what that guy's name is. But anyway, I remember when it came out, it was about 2 or 3 seasons deep. These are really beautiful playing cards. Ooh, here we go. Oh, for God's sake. Yep, I'm going to have to go to the internet, recognize him. Everybody's screaming like, Zach, you imbecile. What's wrong with you? Well, I definitely... God, every single person looks familiar, but I've only recognized one name, and it's freaking Peter Dinklage. But in any event, a friend of mine said, why don't you try to watch 1 or 2 episodes, which is a much more reasonable request than most people would give. Oh, freaking Daenerys, I believe? Targaryen? How many Game of Thrones people did I just really upset? Where's Sean Bean? These are really nice. That guy, no, that guy. That guy looks real familiar. Yeah, I'm going to have to dig into... Ooh, Jokers. Oh, nice. I am kind of bummed I did not see, the Mountain, Half Thor. I do want to send to him at some point, though. That guy is one heck of a strong man. But these are awesome. Yes, and 100% I think the ones with pictures are going to try to get sent up for TTMs. Anyway, back to my rambling Game of Thrones story, which is something I tend to do. I did end up watching the first 2 episodes. And I truly did. Ooh, and we have something. Ooh, TTM Fuel. Let's go. Can't wait to dig into that. This is how... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, thank God, no gum. Oh, thank God, no gum. Oh, thank God. I got scared there for a second. TTM Fuel. Yeah, we go. Now, I know I'm a big fan of Doug Drabeck, but anyway, before I get into this, I watched the first 2 episodes of Game of Thrones. He later asked me my opinion. He said, what did you think of it? And the honest answer was, I can see why a lot of people think it's the greatest show they've ever seen. I can 100% see that. At least in the early part of the show, the writing was amazing. The visuals were amazing. The acting was amazing. But like I say, it's just not a genre that, really intrigues me. But when people say Game of Thrones is one of the best shows I've ever seen, having seen the first 2 episodes and the production value and whatnot, I can 100% understand why. I just didn't get into it. Oh, thank God you scared me. Dougie Drabeck. Back in the days when the Pirates actually had somebody. Cy Young Award winner. Sid Bream. Big fan of Sid Bream. Charges, I think $1. Well worth Sid Bream, even though he destroyed the Pirates. Drabeck does sign. Jose Lind. He does, I'm pretty sure he does sign. I think he lives in Puerto Rico, which... if you're in America, that would still take American postage. I'll have to do Gary Roenicky? Roenicky? I actually don't know how to pronounce. Again, an AL team back in those days. I love me some 87 tops. Ricky Horton, Walt Terrell, Dave Schmidt, Mark Winton. Yeah, we're going to have some good ones. Jim Acker. I've seen a lot of these guys signing. Lee Getterman, John Hart, Spike Owen, that's going to be good. I love getting the 87. Mike Boddicker, I'm pretty sure signs. Lee Stevens, I'm pretty sure signs. Jay Tibbs, I think signs. Yeah, we got us a lot of good stuff. Paul Gruber, actually good. I got some offensive lineman love to send out. Do love me some of the big hogs. Now this, Reggie Sanders. I remember him playing briefly for the Buccos. Yeah, Reggie. That's a nice card. What year is that? 03. Wonder if he signs. We're going to find out. William Pennyfeather. That name sounds familiar. Oh, is that... which Guillen is that? There was many that played for the... Jose Guillen. Pretty sure a lot of these guys sign, and we're going to find out. Francisco Cervelli. We got here Chris Benson. Wow, there's a name I haven't thought of in a long time. This is getting back to the mid-2000s Pirates when they were really terrible. I remember vividly being in college at the U of R, and it was 2000, 2001 maybe, when the Pirates went 62-100. Yeah. It was certainly a thing. That 20-year losing skid. Bobby Bowe. I wish Bobby Bonilla signed. I really do, but I am a huge fan of him. Do not have this one of you. Starline. That's a nice-looking Bobby Bowe. Smartest man, as I've said before, smartest man in baseball. This guy. Remember when the Steelers were good, folks? Pepperidge Farm remembers. As I just jack the crap out of this. But we have the bus. And I got to meet the bus, Jerome Bettis. Oh, no way, it's numbered? 2155 2500. 789 out of 20. Oh, gameplay. And I have never seen any of these. Oh, these are fantastic. I love that. But Bettis, I got to meet him. It was in 1996. So it would have been right after he was traded to the Pirates, because baseball, to the Steelers from the St. Louis Rams, or where had they gone to L.A. at the time. In any event, back in the day when athletes would do public signings, I met him at, I have the picture downstairs. I think it was a J.C. Penney or a Kaufman's department store. He was doing a signing. He signed a picture, like a little 4x6 promo photo, and I got him to sign a t-shirt. So that downstairs somewhere, I do have a signed Bettis t-shirt and picture. And I think actually Julie Farnham actually sent me a signed Bettis card that she pulled. What year is this? 80, it was Stan the Man, 88? Yeah, 88. You know what, we're going to get into it. There's no gum, so I don't have to eat anything unpleasant today. Gum will be coming for the box that hides behind here. Don't you fret. And here's more TTM. Oh, and actually, shout out to Julie Farnham. One of her videos recently, she actually displayed a fully put together one of these puzzles, and I'd never seen one before, and I'm old. So it was really, really cool to see. Link to her down below, obviously, link to Goody G as well, but make sure to check out Julie, and you'll see the puzzle. One day, the 88. So what do we got? The Ripken family. Oh, man. I may send that to Billy. I know he signs. I did get him to sign once. Mike Schmidt on the MVP. That's a good one. Greg Myers, shout out Canada. Ed Romero. Oh, yeah, there's some TTM Fuel in here, too. Domingo Ramos. Donnie Moore for the old California Angels. Randy Myers. Barry Lyons, it's a Mets bag. Gene Garber. Pretty sure he signs. Joe Carter. Kevin McReynolds. Wade Boggs. Wow. Looking hirsute. Bobby Meacham. No Pirates. Scott Lusader. Shout out to Lisa Z, Sticks G, and Cole. Lee Mazzilli. A lot of Mets in this one, too. Rick Ruschel. And an Ivan Calderon MVP. I'm almost positive Ivan Calderon is no longer with us, unfortunately. But we have us some TTM Fuel plus some Bettis. And, yep, TTM Fuel in the Game of Thrones. And even some of the non-ones. I think it would be ironic if I sent the two to Half-Thor. Although if they have World's Strongest Man cards. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. We have one more thing. But starting off, House of Fire. Thank you, Goody G. Please make sure, link down below, go down, sub him up, show him some love. It came in December, but I didn't have the chance to do it, so you may get two this month. Boom! History by Mail. It's back. Ooh, in pictures. History by Mail makes the perfect gift. Yes, it does. Well, there you go. If anybody wants that, I will shout out them because obviously I'm not sponsored by History by Mail, but people have seen it. It's really cool. So if anybody is interested, here's a gift code for you. I'm probably going to save onto that and use that when I renew it. Now then, we have, what do we have? Record type, presidential, notes mail, creator Philip Kaplan, CN Philip Kaplan, Senator Glenn. Oh, John Glenn. Okay, Senator Glenn's message from space. There we go. Her transfer to Air Force One. All right. Stephen K. Horn, the 11th of June, 1998. I don't know, though. It's American. So, is it? Yeah, okay. So, no. It's, okay. So, I can never remember what they'll do, but I forgot it's American. So, November the 6th, 1998, at 5:28 in the early evening. To Philip Kaplan, WHO, subject, Senator Glenn's message from space. Here's the message. Wow, this is a lot of difficulty to read. Oh, excuse me, got the hiccups. So here's all this received by NASA. This is just all the text as to what's going on. Okay, here's the actual message. President Bill Clinton, the White House, Washington, D.C. Dear Mr. President, This is certainly a first for me, writing to a president from space, and it may be first for you in receiving an email direct from an orbiting spacecraft. I would assume so. In any event, I want to personally thank you and Mrs. Clinton for coming to the Cape to see the launch. I hope you enjoyed it just half as much as we did on board. It is truly an awesome experience from a personal standpoint, and of even greater importance for all the great research projects we have on Discovery. The whole crew was impressed that you would be the first president to personally see a shuttle launch. I did not know that Clinton was in 98. And asked me to include their best regards to you and Hillary. She has discussed her interest in the space program with Annie on several occasions, and I know she would like to be on a flight just like this. We have gone almost a third of the way around the world in the time it has taken me to write this letter. Think about that statement for a second. Pardon me. That they have basically gone a third of the way around the planet. And by the way, with the Earth being round, you can go around it. The Earth is massive. Just massive. Taking right to this letter. And the rest of the crew is waiting. Again, our thanks and best regards. We will try to give you a personal briefing after we return next Saturday. Sincerely, John Glenn. And this, I guess, came through Margie S. Keller, Administration Officer for the Astronaut Office. I don't remember. Can you imagine, especially, let's just think about this. Back in 1998, just sending an email alone. You know, kids, consult your parents, but back in the day, we didn't have the ability to just willy-nilly send emails from our phone or whatever. It just wasn't as easy. But now take that in 1998 and compound that with the fact that it's coming from outer space, and the fact that still to this day you have a hard time finding a good cell phone signal throughout the United States, one of the more modern countries in the world, and this is coming from space. Ranting aside, let's get into this. John Glenn's space email to President Clinton. I'm going to move this a little closer for everybody to read it. Enclosed is a replica email sent by astronaut and U.S. Senator John Glenn to President Bill Clinton aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery. After becoming the first American to orbit Earth in 62 years, aboard Friendship 7, John Glenn returned to space 36 years later. And it was in 1962, not since. I apologize. That's right, at the age of 77, communication technology had advanced to allow astronauts to send emails from space. Becoming an astronaut, John Glenn was born in Cambridge, Ohio in 1921. During World War II, Glenn was a Marine fighter pilot on the Pacific Front and flew 59 combat missions. Yes, very highly decorated. He continued to serve in the U.S. Marine Corps after the war, and during the Korean War, he flew dozens of missions. He received the Distinguished Flying Cross Award 6 times for his service in both wars. John then enrolled in the U.S. Navy Test Pilot School in, Patuxent? I guess Patuxent River, Maryland, and set a world record for traveling from Los Angeles to New York at supersonic speed in 3 hours and 23 minutes. Is that still the record? I mean, that's not a long time, because you think about it, I can't even get from here to Albany in the same state in barely 3.5 hours. On February 20th, 1962, John Glenn piloted the Friendship 7 spacecraft alone from Cape Canaveral, Florida. Took roughly 5 hours to circle the Earth 3 times at a speed of 17,500 miles an hour, 160 miles above Earth. Before Glenn landed the spacecraft in the Atlantic Ocean, he even managed to make adjustments to his own heat shield mid-flight. Interesting. The success of Friendship 7 was a success for America, which was engaged in a space race with the Soviet Union. Well, yeah, we all know how that ended. Just almost 7 years later to the date, I think it was in July, in 1969. As the first American to orbit Earth, Glenn instantly became a national hero. President John F. Kennedy presented Glenn with the NASA Distinguished Service Medal, and the two became friends. Glenn continued to serve as a NASA advisor until 1964. Here's the senator. Attorney General Robert Kennedy encouraged John Glenn to consider running for public office, and in 1964, Glenn entered the Ohio Democratic primary for U.S. Senator, running against incumbent Senator Stephen Young, but Glenn had to leave the race after sustaining injuries from an accident. Did not know that. He then took a job as vice president and later president of the Royal Crown Cola Company. RC, baby! In 1970, he again ran for the Ohio Senate, but was defeated. In 1974, John Glenn ran for U.S. Senator of Ohio for a third time, and this time he won. Would serve 4 terms in the Senate from 1974 to 1999, and became chair of the Senate Governmental Affairs Committee. The Senate's primary oversight and investigation committee from 1978 to 95. Senator Glenn also authored the 1978 Non-Proliferation Act, served on the Senate Foreign Relations and Armed Services Committees, and pushed for more funds for space exploration and science education. While unfortunately, not long after that, the space shuttle program kind of went belly up. That is documented. After 1983 film about the Mercury astronauts was released, John Glenn capitalized on even greater public exposure and ran as a Democratic presidential candidate. However, he withdrew his bid during the primaries. Smart move. On October 29, 1998, 36 years after becoming the first American to orbit Earth, John Glenn again made history by returning to space on the shuttle Discovery, becoming the oldest person to enter space, and I believe still is. One of the goals of the 9-day mission was to investigate the effects of space travel on aging. During the mission, John Glenn sent the enclosed email to President Bill Clinton. On November 7th, the morning after receiving Glenn's email, Clinton wrote his response to John Glenn. This is the first ever presidential email. And kind of fitting that we have to turn the page for it. See, now we're getting all kinds of different firsts. Did not know that. Dear John, I mean, I know you're the president, but, you know, a little respect for the man. He's done more than you ever will, at least in the good way. Thanks for your message. Hillary and I had a great time at the launch. We are very proud of you and the entire crew and a little jealous. Well, can you imagine, though, what it would be like? It'd be terrifying, plain and simple. We can't wait for you to get home so we can have a first-hand report. Meanwhile, back on Earth, we're having a lot of fun with your adventure. At a camp rally in Queens, I asked an 83-year-old lady what she thought of your trip. She replied that it seemed like a perfectly fine thing for a young man like you to do. I hope your last few hours go well. Give my best to the rest of the crew. Sincerely, Bill Clinton. At a 2011 technology conference in New York, Clinton later noted, I sent a grand total of 2 emails as president. One to our troops in the Adriatic and one to John Glenn when he was 77 years old in outer space. I mean, if you're only going to send 2, those are the 2 to send. Clinton added that when he took office in 1993, there were about 50 sites on the internet. I think in 1993, most of us public people weren't even aware of the internet. And cell phones were so heavy that they were best used for bicep curls. Not wrong. The old bricks. The laptop used by Clinton to email a response to John Glenn belonged to White House physician Commander Robert G. Darling of the United States Navy Medical Corps. He was with the president at a friend's house in Arkansas when they received word from NASA that Senator Glenn wanted to send the president an email from space. The president's staff had to act quickly because NASA was preparing for the shuttle's landing. Dr. Darling volunteered the use of his internet-connected laptop. Again, not like today, where every device, including half of the appliances in your fridge, are connected to the internet. Wasn't possible back then. At the White House Communications Agency did not have one ready for the president's use. That tells you all you need to know. The Toshiba Satellite Pro laptop that was used by the president to send his response was auctioned off in 2014 for $61,931.10. That seems like an awfully low amount for something so tied to history. Anyway, John Glenn reached the highest levels of his military, space, and political careers. The term astronaut syndrome has come to define the high rates of depression among former astronauts who failed to find meaning in their lives after the exhilaration of space travel. Never thought about that. John Glenn, however, was able to build a successful career in politics and then remarkably return to space. I guess that would probably be more so for the early astronauts. Perhaps the secret to John Glenn's success lies in his philosophy. In 1997, when announcing the donation of his personal papers and artifacts to Ohio State University, shout out Brother Durs, John Glenn said, "If there is one thing I've learned from my years on this planet, it's that the happiest and most fulfilled people I've known are those who devoted themselves to something bigger and more profound than merely their own self-interest." Very true and very beautiful words. Glenn retired from the Senate in 1999. He and his wife Annie founded the John Glenn College of Public Service at Ohio State University, and he received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Obama in 2012. Glenn was the last of NASA's first class of astronauts when he died in 2016 at the age of 95. Rest in peace, John Glenn, honestly, a true American and international hero. That, and again, this is really cool history because I can't say I was remembering that there was an email sent, but the fact that there was an email sent and getting the details about it is, for me especially, very intriguing. And hopefully you guys, son of a gun, I'm trying to be cute and it's not working. There we go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I want to thank Goody G very much for the awesome cards and the massive, massive amount of TTM Fuel. I'm so sorry it took forever to get this done, but it was received before Christmas. I just was all over the place, but we're still getting back into the swing of things. I'm slowly starting to catch up. I think I'm almost caught up with comments, but just trying to get caught up on everybody's back videos. But moving on, 2024 is rolling in. We've got some history, hopefully more history coming later this month. Great TTM Fuel. And the bus does not really get much better than that. So thank you for joining me. This was a long one, so hopefully you didn't just stick through and you watched it in little chunklets as you went around. But thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for the mail. We'll see you next time.